Hey Jay, this is Anthony from Illinois. I'm calling in to put together kind of a brief response to some of Erica's comments on Donna Brazile and your just kind of brief responses. I think that the kind of whole aftermath of Donna Brazile, I think rightly points out some of the flaws of party structures in general. But one of the things that I wonder that I think people aren't kind of taking seriously is something you alluded to and talked about, which is this idea of voting based on what letter or party affiliation someone has. I think it would be a good idea perhaps to kind of put together an episode if you can, or cite an episode kind of discussing some of these issues relating to Donna Brazile. I think there's been a good amount of some type of racist backlash that I've seen against her from kind of more mainstream, quote unquote, left commentators that I've seen online in kind of my own unique contexts. But I think for me, the biggest kind of issue of the party sphere that I see is this idea that I can only vote for a Democrat if I'm a leftist, or I can only vote for, a Republican if I am not a Democrat. And I think it's very, problematic to have that kind of a view. I've seen a few people in my timelines and talked to quite a few people who kind of have this view of, well, if you didn't vote for Hillary Clinton, you don't have a right to complain about the state of the world, or something similar to that effect. I think it's just one of those difficult things where people don't seem to be willing to kind of learn more about party affiliations, party structure. But I also think doing kind of the difficult work of examining where your own beliefs can kind of fall into a party system, and whether or not there needs to be viable party options. Obviously, it's going to take time to build viable third parties. So I think there should be, cooperation in some capacities between, organizations like the Democratic Socialists of America and other, grassroots, kind of more leftist than kind of classic mainstream liberal thought. But at the same time, I think there also needs to be that discussion on the grassroots of what do we want a party to represent as kind of a national base versus a kind of that geographical or local race. I think some of that's been happening with the elections that happened recently in Virginia and New York, where I see a lot of, people who proudly identify as neoliberal Democrats saying, well, look at all of these Democrats that won, who thinks that centrism is dead? This could have been a chance to win more. But I think that there is something to be said about trying to look at parties from a grassroots level and building the base up versus kind of that corporate top-down structure that it seems, at least in my own context, that a lot of liberals seem to like more than doing that grassroots work. Keep up the great work. Have a good one.